Alright, so we'll be looking at all my Beatles records and solo career stuff and all that. We're starting with the 1963 and 1964 records first. It's all just yeah, it's all the 12-inch records right now. So there is a this is a modern pressing stereo, yeah. And another modern pressing from, these are the 2009 ones. This one is still in the shrink wrap and it's a import. Then introducing the Beatles. Sadly, this is a counterfeit, yeah. But then there is another one that I have that is genuine, so that's cool. One of my first pressings of Meet the Beatles. Another first pressing of Meet the Beatles. A Japanese pressing of With the Beatles. Wow, Meet the Beatles. The OB strip, the shrink wrap on it, all that good stuff. The 2024 blue vinyl edition of Meet the Beatles. 64 pressing of the second album. Modern pressing of Hard Day's Night. 70s Apple label Something New. Rainbow Band Capital reissue of Something New. First pressing of A Hard Day's Night in fake stereo. Chipmunks Sing the Beatles. Beatles for Sale, first mono pressing from the UK. The Beatles Story. And Beatles 65. Most of these are all first pressings, by the way. I'll list if they aren't first pressings, but otherwise they're first pressings. So, yeah. Alright, so now is 1965 to 1967. So we have a 70s repress of the early Beatles in its stereo. It has the Apple label. Then we have Beatles 6, and a person who originally bought it wrote their name. Probably not to forget them, and they wrote the date of purchase on the back and their name. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. Another Beatles 6. A modern pressing of Help. A pretty bad condition 1965 US Help. George Martin and his orchestra play Help, and this is a promotional copy with the White United Artists label, and it says not for sale. A 1967 Help from Taiwan. Modern pressing, as you see right there, of Rubber Soul. US Rubber Soul. Another US Rubber Soul. Fake butcher cover. It's and it is an original first pressing of the album, but it's the trunk cover. It just has a generally pretty accurate cover of the butcher cover, slick over the trunk cover. But then we have another Yesterday and Today. This is another first pressing. It's in stereo. It's one of my favorite albums, actually. We have the 2022 version of Revolver, a late 1960s, I believe, stereo pressing of Revolver from the U.S., and it's on the what's it called, the Target label for Capitol. And then a 1978 Sgt. Pepper's picture disc, and a 1970s Apple label repress of Magical Mystery Tour. So yeah. Okay, so now we're up to 1968 to 1970 for just the Beatles, really, yeah. So we have a first pressing of two versions. I know my way of covering up the cover is very nice. Thank you for noticing. We have a first pressing of the White Album from the US, a 70s repress of the White Album with all the posters and all that, and it's on white vinyl. Okay. The Beatles and Escher demos. Yellow Submarine, modern pressing, yeah. 1969 Live Peace in Toronto, or Plasticona Band Live Peace in Toronto. The anniversary edition of Abbey Road. The green vinyl limited edition of Abbey Road from Target. The Beatles again. And Let It Be on the Red Apple label. Alright, so now we're at 1970 to 1973, and it's now all the solo stuff and compilations and probably a few bootlegs in between. So, at All Things Must Pass, it's a first pressing, but I'm not sure if it's from the UK or US. B Cups of Blues, McCartney, Plastic Ono Band, Ram, Imagine, Concert for Bangladesh, which the records are in very good condition, and it's got that fully intact booklet, which I'm very happy about. I love it. The Beatles Red album in its later 70s Capitol repress with the red capital, yeah. And first pressing of Blue album, later Capitol repress. The 2023 edition box set of the Red and Blue album, Red Rose Speedway, Mind Games, Ringo, Band on the Run, and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Alright, so now we're at 1974 to 1979. So we got George Harrison with his Dark Horse. We got Walls and Bridges, UK first pressing. Sweet Apple Tracks, a Germany bootleg. Shaved Fish, Venus and Mars, Rock and Roll, Blast from Your Past, Wings Over America. Yeah, it's a promotional one that wasn't for sale. George Harrison 33 and 1/30th, I believe that's what it's called. Beatles Rock and Roll Music, The Beatles Rock and Roll Music Volume 1, The Beatles Love Songs, The Beatles Live at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany, London Town, Beatles Rarities, and this is a sampler copy. Ringo Bad Boy, The Rudels, 40th anniversary edition from 2018, Wings Greatest, modern pressing of Wings Greatest, and George Harrison. Alright, so now we have all of the 80s stuff. So we have Double Fantasy, which is in the shrink wrap, which I found at a thrift store. Double Fantasy, which I found at a thrift store. A copy of Double Fantasy that came from a library. The John Lennon Collection, 20 Greatest Hits, The Beatles. Paul McCartney Tug of War. Birth of the Beatles, it's, I believe, an Italian bootleg. Gon Troppo. Pipes of Peace. A 12-inch single of John Lennon, I'm Stepping Out. Milk and Honey. Valette, I guess it was called by Julian. Another copy of that. John Lennon live in New York City. Cloud 9. Paul McCartney's Russian album, modern pressing. Yeah, it's limited edition yellow vinyl. Then Past Masters, just another normal modern pressing. Alright, so now we just got everything that's after the 80s now, so all the way up until nowadays. So we got a first pressing of Anthology 1, first pressing of Anthology 2, Love, Ringo Zoom In, Now and Then, Look Up, Wings, and Anthology 4. Alright, so now for the Beatles singles and just solo career stuff. It's way more than I thought I had, actually. You got George Harrison, Dark Horse. This is Junior's Farm by Paul McCartney and Wings. Band on the Run by McCartney and Wings. Now, by the way, these are in no particular year order. These are just kind of here, wherever, so. John Lennon, Instant Karma. An 80s repress of Yesterday / Act Naturally. Ringo Starr, Ooh Wee. Let's see. Venus and Mars Rock Show by Wings. Jet by Paul McCartney. Another Band on the Run by McCartney and Wings. Stand By Me by John Lennon. Photograph by Ringo Starr. Soft Hearted Hannah by George. Another Ringo Starr photograph. Give Peace a Chance by the Plastic Ono Band. Julian Lennon, Stick Around. It's All Down to Goodnight Vienna by Ringo Starr. Maybe I'm Amazed by Paul McCartney. Beware My Love by Wings. Why do I... Another Photograph by Ringo Starr. Take It Away by Paul McCartney. No More Lonely Nights by Paul McCartney. Hello Goodbye / I Am the Walrus. She Loves You. So Bad by Paul McCartney. A modern repress of I Want to Hold Your Hand. Walking on Thin Ice by Yoko Ono for John. Listen to What the Man Said by Wings. Cold Turkey by John Lennon. Jet by McCartney and Wings. Uncle Albert by McCartney and Linda. Yeah. Let's see. What's this one? You by George Harrison. A promo of Sally G by McCartney and Wings with a stereo and mono. John Lennon, Woman. Venus and Mars Rock Show by Wings. Again, yeah. Isn't It a Pity by George. Got My Mind Set on You by George. Watching the Wheels by Lennon. Magical Mystery Tour, first pressing. The Long and Winding Road. Help. Paperback Writer. The Ballad of John and Yoko. Get Back. She Loves You. Coming Up. And My Bonnie. Well, Tony Sherman and the Beat Brothers. I mean, because the Beat Brothers are the Beatles, you know, so. But, yeah, so that's all of my records with these, and then you saw the other ones. So, yeah. Maybe I can make another video on just all my other stuff besides the records. Anyone can let me know about that. And another thing, I do have some more records coming into in the mail eventually, because I got a first pressing of I Want to Hold Your Hand with the pick sleeve. I got a first pressing of Sgt. Pepper's. It's not in too good condition, but it's fine, I guess. So that's why I bought it. It was only like $5. So, and I ordered a Japanese pressing of A Hard Day's Night. It's not in the best condition, especially the sleeve, but the record looks fine, so I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, it's a Japanese pressing anyway. I like the non-American or UK pressings of albums. I think they're pretty cool. So, but yeah, so thanks for watching this little video, and bye-bye.